my meditation ritual before speaking.
Oh, damn.
But I'll say this. I'll say, you know, may the time spent here right now be time spent just in the energy of growth, in the energy of just, you know, peace and love and joy and abundance, man.
Yeah.
You know? And, you know, I invite all that is to be able to operate through us in these now moments to give exactly the energy that is necessary in order to make sure that the message is properly received.
That's real. That's solid.
Yeah, man. All right. So you let me know when you start rolling, man, and we'll get going.
Yeah. I think we're good to go now, man. It's just a few things. It's annoying me, this chair is crazy.
Yeah, get yourself comfortable, man.
Yeah.
I did like as well, like the fact that I was like talking to you. Like
Yeah.
I wasn't like looking at the camera per se.
Yeah.
And like I was okay with that. Like I was okay with the fact that like from the angle, it was kind of like me, just like, it was just me and you in here, you know?
So it had more of like a natural sense to you?
For sure.
Okay.
For sure. Which
All
I'm
right.
cool with.
Cool, man. Hey, let's lock in and do it then.
All right, yeah. Here we go, 7 o'clock. We're actually on time today.
Right. But cool, man. So, hey, how you doing, man? You had a good week?
Bro, I'm fantastic. That's an understatement, man. I, like, good week, very, like, high energy this week. This is the week of, what week is this? The last week of September.
Yeah.
September was a doozy, energetically, just in general. So it was a lot of, like, lessons to be learned, a lot of experiences to go through, but all in all, man, it was really nice. I enjoyed it, man. I really did.
You got a promotion today?
Yeah.
That's gonna help your mind, right?
I did get a promotion today, which is dope. You know, I'm thankful for it. I just, you know, again, I look at like, what do I have to do to make sure that I make the best out of the opportunity that was given for me to really make a difference within my company, right? Like, I know it's just a landing point. It's like a stopping point on my journey either way. Even the role is a stopping point. Like, you know, I should be in corporate, right? But the thought process is innovate this and do the best I can within the realm of what the company is looking for in order to achieve the goal. So, you know, I'm looking forward to it, man. It's like, it's a new challenge, you know? It's not like mundane, if you will.
Yeah.
So I'm cool with it, man. Yeah, the promotion was good.
You know what's crazy, bro? I've always wondered, right, like, what would your landing spot be, you know? Like, what would be, like, your end goal? Because you've done, like, a wide range. Like, your range of things that you've done.
Yeah.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah,
Because,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
when I first met you, you were my manager at Walmart, right?
Yeah.
And then from there, we kind of lost touch or whatever. But the next time that I see you and I hear from you, you like managing clubs, you like doing the security thing, you got a whole team with you.
Yeah.
There's just so many different things that you is really about. And now, I forgot the company you work for, but you sell...
I sell and design people's homes, like tile, like the tile aspect of it and all that stuff.
Okay.
And then on top of selling, I also run the warehouse, but now I'm the warehouse mentor for all of the Carolinas for the company.
Yeah.
So.
And you tend to always fall in that role where you manage people.
Yeah. You know, I think my actual, like, my quote unquote landing spot is something yet to be discovered yet. You know what I mean? I think like, I think it has something to do with this, honestly. I really do. Because this is a thing that like, that really gets me excited. You know, there's the topics that really get me going. And I just, you know, just like anybody going through this journey, it's like, what are we doing in our moment to moment to make sure that we're set up for the best possible success that we can achieve? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? So like, as I learned all these different roles, as I've done all these different types of things and been in these different types of circles, I was able to kind of like continue to like add to the toolbox, if you will. And, you know, every single thing that I've added to the toolbox up until this point has helped me in the next role, right? So wherever my true landing spot is, You know, it's gonna probably implement all the things that I've learned over the years, and it's just gonna make sense, you know? Like I said, you know, I told you the other day or last week, you know, like I'm writing a book. That's really exciting for me, you know? I'm big into art right now. Well, I'm not big into art. I really enjoy art, you know, and I really enjoy painting. And like my paintings are pretty cool, you know? So like, who knows? Maybe I'll write a book and like that gets rolling and, you know, I sell a couple of my pieces and that's some expendable income and then I can pay you more and then we can travel and you know what I mean? And then that's when it kind of starts all coming together, you know? So just going through life without expectations as to like how this thing is gonna play out. Cause again, bro, this is only Earth, you know? So just make the best that we can while we're here.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Speaking of like your book and all the different things that you have, it's almost like you're speaking of like your journey coming together and creating this one piece, right? If you had to describe like this, what you're doing right now, like how would you put this into the form of a journey? Like how'd you get here? Like what is the purpose of this?
The purpose is self-discovery, I think. You know, like I said, you know, when we spoke last time, like every living soul on this planet has an opportunity to like really discover their self. You know, that they have an opportunity to really like become the best that they can be at their highest level, not just the vessel level, right? So what is going on here? Why am I writing a book and everything else? When people start realizing that there's so much more to this world than what they've been deemed to understand, it's tough to kind of like wrap your brain around it. It's tough to like wrap your energy around it and like and feeling like you have the need to wrap your energy around it when you don't, right? One thing I failed to discuss with you last week when we talked about DMT was like the big lesson that I learned that like I took with me from that initial trip. And those lessons were my issues with fear and control. How those two things were such staples in my life that I needed to learn to let go of in order to really unleash what is truly within me. And my story and my situation isn't necessarily unique, right? Like we all have those abilities. We all have that opportunity. So, you know, again, like we talked about last week, Jaguar, right? Her role is to expose, right? And then you had like Cat Williams, his role was to kind of drop gems and expose a bit too, but stand in his truth, like unfiltered, right? And again, my role is to try to help spark thought processes, you know? And I think as long as I do that with a genuine and loving heart and without any malintent or negativity put behind it, then whatever is in store, I'm gonna be just fine, you know? And like, and then it's allowing, you know, those words and those thought processes to resonate with folks in this 3rd/4th dimension of reality in which we're living in right now, you know? Because these are multi-dimensional concepts, right? So you're taking like a 5th, 6th, 7th dimensional concept and then speaking it into the 3rd and 4th dimension. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Bro, that's awesome. So you would essentially say that this is an exposure podcast, right? In terms of no?
Well, I think when I hear exposure, I automatically think about the stuff that doesn't matter. You know, like, you know, oh, such and such did this, and like, you know, like
Yeah.
in that sense.
Yeah.
I think it's just like, you know, just shine a light on what is really there. You know, like, okay, if I like to say this, okay, each level of the awakening, each level of ascension, right? It's like opening up a warehouse with all the lights off, right? And sometimes you go in a warehouse and there's stuff all over the floor, right? And if the lights are off, you can just run into shit randomly and you got to fumble your way through this warehouse. Well, enlightenment, all that is turning the light switch on so you see where all the issues are, right? So I'm just trying to create as many light switches and light bulbs to turn on so we can see how to navigate through this earth experience, right? Like, before we came here, I was watching, before I got here, I was watching Doctor Strange, like Marvel. And Doctor Strange is like legit, like he's dropping gems in there, you know, about like all the stuff that we're talking about. But people don't pay attention to it because it's a movie, you know? Just like people didn't pay attention to Bob Marley when he was saying one love, one heart, let's get together and feel all right, you know? But Bob Marley was a legitimate prophet, bro, you know? Or like Kendrick Lamar when he says, you know, I answered to Metatron and Gabriel. You know, people don't know what that means, right?
What do you say?
So in the song Family Ties, you know, him and Baby Keem, he says, I'm a prophet, I answer to Metatron and Gabriel, right? Metatron is the name of Enoch from the book of Enoch, but that's Enoch's ascended, highest ascension version, Metatron. Now, is Metatron good or bad? I don't know. That's yet to be understood or seen, right? I really don't, right? There's certain circles that look at Metatron as like this really dark, you know, kind of like egotistical version of the highest level that a human has ever gotten to, right? But others might look at him as the keeper of souls, which is something that he's been known for, essentially, and like sending people through this matrix, you know? So, yeah.
And Gabriel is like the angel of...
Archangel, yeah, he's an archangel.
Archangel, okay.
Yeah. So you'll see him in like the Bible, you'll see like him, Michael. Michael has been in the Bible, the Quran, like ancient Sumerian texts. Like Michael's been around forever. So like there's levels of ascension, if you will. And if you look at people like Gabriel, Michael, Ezekiel, like all these people, when you're an archangel, that is like the first incarnation of, like one of the original incarnations of Source, right? And Source being God, right?
Okay.
So it's like the first manifestations of like into any type of physical form of God. And that's why they have such a high ranking, if you will.
Wow,
Yeah.
Awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So touching back on what you were saying that you would just want to go in a room and create as many light switches as possible. Like if I was listening to this and I was just like an average person going about life, you know, you got so many things going on that are like, I would say distractions. You got the Diddy, you got little things like here and there that just kind of like grab your attention, make you forget about certain things. If I was to run across this on my YouTube, like how would you expect this person to change their life based off of the things that you're telling us like today and in the last session that we had?
It's funny, I can't go into this with any expectation of somebody changing their life, right? I have to go into it with the expectation of just speaking the truth and playing by the rules in which that we operate here. This has always been a free will planet, right? We've always been free will beings. We all have choices. We all have opportunities to make choices. So if your choice is to be knee deep in what's going on with Diddy and this, that, and the third, and worry about your bills and worry about your finances all the time, or who's got what and all that stuff, that's your prerogative, right? That's on you. That's fine. I'm here to let you know that there's more to it than that. And just because you don't understand that doesn't make it any less true, right? So it really comes down to what they call like discernment, right? And for those who have that level of discernment and that can utilize their intuition in ways to, be open to waking up a different side, a higher side of them, and understanding what that gut feeling is, understanding what those messages are when they sit in silence in their room in their house and they're fighting their mind or their heart back and forth. Or, maybe there's a lot of people that don't go through the rabbit holes that I've went through, Like I'm not expecting everybody to look at hours of Dr. Joe Dispenza's work or then turn around and pick up Billy Carson's book on sacred knowledge, or, you know, then go and look at Tony Robbins and figure out how he's been able to motivate people and make people tick. Like, that's my journey, right? But I can take that knowledge and I can take my experiences and then put it in a package so that there's people out there that understand from my perspective, if you will, how this has affected me and then how it can affect them, right? So I say that to say, like, Master Shinhan Yi, another amazing ascended master on this planet, he said, I don't care if you get the message from me, I don't care if you get it from Joe Rogan, I don't care if you get it from Keith Gamble. As long as you get the message, that's what matters, right? And then again, if you don't get the message, that's fine. You know, you have a soul review, you have the potential to reincarnate somewhere else and do whatever you gotta do. But for those who do wanna be open to understanding how to create wealth internally, externally, how to create peace and joy and prosperity in their life on a consistent basis, I got the keys, you know? You can use the keys to open the doors if you want or not. You know, it's up to you, you know?
Yeah. Bro, that's solid, man. And I don't know, man, it just kind of seems like you're moving with a lot of love right now, you know?
Man, yeah. Love is so important, you know? Yeah. Unconditional love. That's the key, you know? Us as humans on this planet, we've been conditioned to, like, put caps on what love looks like, right?
Yeah.
And like, oh, if you don't got this, or if you don't got that, or, you know, it's always like things outside of yourself that, like, people put on love, you know? That's something that I've, like, talked about recently, of like, my definition of what love is has changed so much over the past couple of years that, again, like, the key to understanding that is to love yourself unconditionally, you know? And like I said last week, if you learn to love yourself unconditionally, you learn how to do that with other things, right? And, you know, again, through the lens of, like, Christianity, you look at what Yeshua was teaching, and it was that. It was those were the concepts: not to hurt another, treat thy, you know, give grace to thy enemy, you know, you know, don't hurt other animals, don't hurt other beings, you know, because we're all the same, we're all one, you know. And if you start looking at people and things and situations as a reflection of yourself, just in a different vessel, and you love yourself unconditionally, then obviously you're gonna love them unconditionally, right? Because that's just you loving yourself, you know? So yeah, man, love is so important. I think it's like one of the highest vibrational frequencies that we can operate in. And, you know, love and authenticity are so high up there, you know? It's like, why wouldn't you choose that on this journey, you know? Yeah, that's helped me up until this point, at least.
Yeah.
Now, am I, like, where I want to be, it's tough, because, like, that's a question that I am asking myself right now, live in action. And I know for a fact I'm exactly where I need to be right here, right now, having this conversation in this room with you in front of me, an angel next to me, and like enjoying that. You see what I'm saying? And being in it and not questioning it. And I think that's the hardest part for a lot of people, is like letting go of that control of, like, you know, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing, or those worries or fears, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Is there anything else outside of just, like, worrying about the fear or the controls? Is there anything else that you do that essentially helps you love yourself more, you know? Like, it's hard to put yourself into somebody's shoes without properly knowing yourself, right? So starting from the basic individual, like, what steps should I take to love myself a little bit more than what I do now?
You know, I would say, like, for me, it's just, like, again, you know, the grounding, meditating, like, for me, like, those are, like, different, like, little practices. But honestly, bro, like, take inventory. You know, none of us are pre-programmed with all the answers.
Inventory.
Yeah. Always take, like, like inventory of how you, like me personally, I always take inventory of like how I acted in a certain situation.
Yeah, I do that too.
How did I speak to somebody? Like, could I have done that better? Like, you know, could I have worked harder, you know, or smarter? You know, did I misrepresent myself in some way? And like, knowing that there's more to improve upon, and every step that you take to improve upon yourself in your journey, that's just gonna make you feel more and more like your true full self, which is full of love, you know? So like, how do you love yourself more? Get to know yourself more, right? But like your true self, not the meat suit that we're in right now, and with the pre-programs from 7 years old up until ... How much of those pre-programs are you gonna change in order to be your best self, right? And I think just the more that you unlock those levels, the more that you're able to just like show that unconditional love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do people get past the criticism stage? Because like you just use that example, like, you know, you kind of take inventory on conversations that you had with people, right? Somebody may have a conversation with somebody and they're like, damn it, why did I say that?
Yeah.
And next thing you know, it's like this rabbit hole where like they lead to this deep depression, right? So like, how should someone like take like criticism of themselves? Like, how should they process that, you know?
With the same grace that God gives you, right? Grace, I told you my four pillars: perspective, empathy, grace, and gratitude, right? If you don't give yourself grace, and if you don't realize that every issue that we have in this world, no matter what it is, we've created, Chris. We're literally, quite literally divine creators on this planet. So when we create hardships, when we think that, like, all right, for instance, I was on a podcast maybe like 3 years ago, and this was like early in my spiritual journey, and I was talking about all my traumas, my childhood traumas, and like, oh, my mom did this, and I had to learn to forgive her, and ... And I look back at that version of me, and I'm like, oh, that's so cute. Like, you were really hurt by your mother's journey, right? And like my mother's journey, right? And now I'm like, again, I give grace for my mom because she's doing, and she has always done, everything that she knew to do with the tools and resources that she had to set me up the best way that she knew how. And just because I felt like those moments were tumultuous, just because like I felt like those were like really hard lessons to learn at a really young age, that maybe I wasn't gonna quote unquote have the mom that I always wanted to have, or, you know, thought, you know, she wasn't necessarily showing me what true love was from a motherly perspective, doesn't mean that I had to like wallow in those feelings, you know, or keep on bringing my emotional state from when I felt or realized those feelings occurred within my life at that time into the now present, right? Like Bashar says, and I agree with him, we are continuously in the now moment, okay? Continuously, like there's no future right now, there's no past right now, because the now is now, and past and present future is all happening right now. And based off of the decisions and the frequency in which we vibrate in the now will determine how we end up in future nows, okay? So then the version of me in those past nows are different than this now. Does that make sense?
So you're almost a new person.
Every second.
Yeah.
Right? A new person every second. I tell people all the time, like, the person you thought I was and the person that you knew is different than the person that's standing in front of you, even if you met me yesterday, right? And that's the key, that's one of the keys for me, is like always being willing and open to discovering more levels of what we truly are, right? I think I saw a view of myself once, I never told you this, but I don't tell too many people this, and there's only so much I can go into the story. But I was in a meditation, I was smoking a little bit, and I was meditating, and I asked to see a higher version of myself. And like to like see my true self. And like my consciousness zoomed out from the backyard I was standing in, like where I was looking up at the sky, from there into space, right? So then I saw Earth, and then from Earth went into deep space, and it was this huge like nebula cloud in the middle of outer space with all these beautiful colors and everything else. And my inner voice was like, that's you. Right? So if that's where my soul is broadcasting from, right? Mm-hmm. There's so much to learn in order to really understand that, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna be changing into whatever version of me that can kind of like comprehend that.
Yeah.
Every second that I'm seeking that. Does that make sense? Yeah?
To me, it does.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It reminds me of the story that I read. This woman had a near-death experience. Well, she actually was dead.
Okay.
And, she was out, and essentially in her mind, or what she remembers, is like going to heaven. Mm-hmm. And while she was there, she was talking to someone. I don't know if it was Jesus. I don't know if it was just somebody random. I don't know what it was. But they essentially said, you have a choice. You can either stay or you can go back. Mm-hmm. Her choice is to go back because she felt like she had people there that was leaning on her. Mm-hmm. He said, okay, this is gonna be painful, but I have to do this to you if you wanna go back. He like took his hands and put them around her, mm-hmm. and he like compressed her.
Back into the vessel.
He said,
Go ahead.
Bro, he said, your soul and I don't know what else you would call it, mm-hmm. but he said it's so big, it's so wide, mm-hmm. it can't fit, it can't live out loud there on earth in that form. Mm-hmm. We have to compress you to put you back down, mm-hmm. but there is more to you, but it can't be all exposed there.
For sure.
Apparently is what he was saying.
For sure.
And then he did it, and then she went back, she said she was in pain, but she got over it quickly.
Okay.
So that's what that story that you just told reminds me of.
Yeah, and I believe that, You
ever heard that before? Something similar?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard it, I've felt it in a way, and that's what, that's kind of what I was telling you last week, like, your essence is crammed into Chris Richardson, right? Yeah. But that's not all of you. That's a fractal piece of you.
You did say that too.
Right?
Yeah.
So like, it's that same exact concept. It's that same thought process that we are so much more than this vessel, right? And then again, the journey of discovering that is what's gonna open you up to everything else, right? And like, every once in a while we get glimpses, like little pieces of like that power, that energy. And like you're just chasing it all the time. Like,
Yeah.
Sometimes like, I remember one time I had a moment, like, you remember in the movie Aladdin, where like the bad guy Jafar like turned into a genie. He was like, I have ultimate power, Like, that's how it feels for like a second, and then like something else is there, and then you just come right back to like this. Like I've been in those situations quite a bit.
Good, but yeah, bro, that's that's awesome, man. But the feeling that you just described, what a feeling it is, though, right? Mm-hmm. And it's a shame that I guess we can't live here on Earth feeling how we truly should be, or maybe it's not a shame.
I don't think it's a shame. Again, I think, this is like the Harvard of school for souls, right? Mm-hmm. So like, we're not supposed to have all the access to our full self here on Earth, right? We're supposed to have like a little piece of it with amnesia that like we don't remember that we are all of these things. And the goal is to figure out the ways to unlock in order to understand that and live in that. And like there's something like ignorantly that I want to make sure I speak on when it comes to that topic. Like, and I was ignorant in my thought processes because oftentimes I speak on things expecting like more people to like understand it and live that way. You got to realize there's energies here that don't give a hoot, right? I said hoot. That don't give a damn about anything light or positive or joyous or abundant, right? They're gonna pass away, go to their life review. They're gonna be like, hey, you did all these terrible things to all these souls. You're gonna have to feel that. And they're gonna be like, I don't care, send me. You know, like the badass little kid, you know what I mean? Like, so you have people that are gonna fail this school, you know? And, you know, I say fail loosely because it's all a matter of perspective, right? But me personally, I know what I want, you know, and I want to feel that peace. I want to feel that love. I want to feel that joy. I want to create that. I want to create that with my family. I want to create that with the woman I'm with and like with the friends that I surround myself with. And, you know, I want, you know, ideally one day I want to be able to have a compound with multiple houses on it and like a certain energy and vibration that when those gates open, people know that they're on the land of something that is so light and beautiful. That's like ineffable, you know? And that's like, that's my journey, right? So I'm just, you know, I just want to be able to have a community of people that kind of feel the same way. And, you know, as we post this stuff, as we put this stuff out there, more and more people are going to start gravitating, you know, either to or away from me, which is a win-win, you know, right?
Yeah.
Because if I'm not your cup of tea, then that's fine. You know, it's supposed to be that. It's supposed to be like a natural thing, right? But if I am, then that's great. Let's continue changing the world. Let's have fun.
Yeah.
You know?
I think you're right though. I think essentially you're just kind of gonna lay everything out for everybody, and they're just gonna come to a decision on whether they choose to follow this or not. You know. But one thing I can say is everything that you're speaking though is facts. Like today, in this podcast, and the last one that we did, you know, you're just always coming from a place of healing, of figuring it out, you know, of getting to a better source, but getting to a higher level, essentially, at the end of the day. And I just felt like I just had to say that just because, like, that is the true point, you know? And the journey that you've taken over the past few years, you know, it's just been tremendous. Because, like, when I first met you, you know, you was cool. You was cool, you know. I used to avoid you sometimes, you know, like walking around the store, I'd be like, oh, here he come, you know. but literally, bro, like, you know, your journey is amazing. I hope people do listen to everything that you have to say right now because, like, honestly, a lot of things that you're saying, I'm kind of going through now too, you know. One of the biggest challenges for me right now is like one of the smallest ones, you know, and it's weird, right?
What do you mean?
So like, I feel like for me, every problem that you have always traces back to something very, very small, you know? Like, rather like some people just have a hard time saying no. Some people have just a hard time saying yes, you know? And it's like that fear kind of holds them back. For me, it's like the whole question. It's like, damn, why do I even have to answer this? Can it just figure itself out? You know?
Can you give me an example?
So, indecisiveness.
Okay.
That is my biggest challenge right now.
Okay.
Yeah. I have to be able to just say yes or just say no. And for me, and maybe you could tell me if I'm right or wrong here.
It's all a matter of perspective.
Right.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay.
It is. But for me, sometimes it doesn't even matter if you say yes. It doesn't even matter if you say no. As long as you just choose something and go forward, then you'll be good, right?
Yeah.
But me, it's the hesitation.
Sure.
That hesitation has always been my biggest challenge. It's my biggest challenge. I play football, and I can't explain it, bro.
Okay.
I can't explain it. Like when I played football, there were moments where the play would be, I was a linebacker, so I'm sitting back here reading the play. It's like I know what's about to happen. You take your 2 steps, your 1, your 2, you read, boom, you make it action, to go. You just go. For me, I used to always hesitate, hesitated.
Yeah.
And like putting that small example into perspective, it's almost like, you know, that hesitation caused me to miss a tackle. That missed tackle caused me to like not be looked at as like a reliable teammate.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Me lacking that reliable teammate stature that I wanted, it caused me to be overlooked to be a team captain on the team. My senior year.
Sure.
Like, damn, bro, I played football all 4 years.
Yeah.
I was not a senior captain.
Sure.
That
sure.
look you, bro. Yeah, bro. It's with me today. I haven't let the hurt go yet.
Yeah.
But indecisiveness, man, and that's just like my biggest challenge.
Okay, great. I mean, listen, man. I'm gonna preface this by saying that, for one, the goal is to be in flow, right? You ever watch Dragon Ball Z?
Yeah.
All right. Ultra Instinct.
Yeah.
Right? That's when Goku is at like his highest God level. He doesn't even have to think. He's just operating through it. Someone throws something at him, a punch, a kick, whatever. He's just gonna move and boom, 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 boom. It's as if he knows what's gonna happen before it happens. In the case of football, you look at Ray Lewis, right? He did the studying. He did the workouts. He trained his teammates. He gave the signals. So, and he saw the lineup. When he saw, you know, strong right, you know, tight left, he knew in that formation that there's a certain package that they operate out of. But he studied that quarterback, right? And he studied the way that their motions are. So as soon as that quarterback, who was it, Drew Brees or what's his name?
Peyton Manning.
No, the guy, remember when Ray Lewis met old boy in the backfield, Darren Sproles, it was the Chargers-Ravens game, met him in the backfield like 4 yards behind, you know? Ray saw that 20 million times in his mind play out. So when it was time to go, he just shot the gap. Troy Polamalu, shoot the gap, just get there, right? But mind you, there's like a level of confidence and peace with that confidence that allows to unlock that aspect of you, right? But if one of the biggest issues that we have as humans is allowing our head to operate the vessel, right? Your brain is not the control center of this vessel. Your heart is, right? And your heart is the holder of the source energy that is you, okay? And if you know and you feel in your heart of hearts that that gap is gonna be there, or this type of play is about to happen and you're gonna be fine, you've done all the work, you're a 4-year player, you know, on the varsity team, whatever the issue is, whatever the situation is, you're gonna lead with your heart and allow your brain to kind of fall back and make the adjustments as it has to, right? But if you start getting in your head about things all the time, you're then gonna miss what is really right there in front of you and the decisions that would have been so easy for you to make if you were just connected to your true self, right? Ultra instinct, right?
Yeah.
So we do it with like, okay, for instance, the promotion, right? When I went to apply for the job, I got an email saying like, hey, I just want to make sure that there's visibility to this role, right? So I saw the email, but I was too busy. I had so much to do, right? And by the time I opted into the job, it wasn't posted anymore. It was 2 days after the email went down, right? So they posted the role, I missed it, I didn't opt into it. And I was like, damn, man, I just missed an opportunity, right? So if I allowed myself in my head to be like, beat myself up, okay? I never would have listened to my heart and been like, email the hiring manager. Your resume is ridiculous. Email the hiring manager. So I did. Hey, my name's Keith Gamble. I have this many years of retail or warehouse experience managing $90 million stores, 400 employees. Oh, I can't wait to talk to you. Right? Here I am, a week later, all right, got promoted. Great, awesome, right? But again, if I allowed my head to operate this thing, maybe I would have missed that missed that tackle. I would have missed that promotion. I would have missed that this or that. You know, missed that opportunity with that girl or whatever the case is. It's just like being at a club. It's the same thing, bro. It's scalable.
How is it being at a club?
I mean, same thing. You ever see a woman you want to shoot your shot at, right? And you don't do it because you're in your head so many times, right?
Happens all the time.
Happens all the time, right? But I remember when I was a young lad, right? In my 20s, I would go into a space and in my head, I would say, hey, there's 5 beautiful women in here that I'd love to spend my time with and just talk to them and get to know them. And I would remember what they were wearing and I would remember what they were doing. And then when there was an opportunity for me to pass by them, if I saw them, I would introduce myself to their friends and then say something nice about their outfit or about their smile or whatever, and then I'd leave. And then it was up to them to determine whether or not they wanted to talk to me again. They'd catch me while I was dancing and look at me and I'd give them a head nod and now we're in it, you know? But if I was in my head the whole time, of like, oh, what am I gonna say to her and how am I gonna
Paralysis.
Analysis paralysis, bro. Now you're just stuck in it. But again, everything that is for you will come directly to you, and everything that you want to create in your life, you can. Okay? The one thing that the best advice I could ever give anybody, and the best advice I've ever given my children, was to never stop using your imagination. Never stop using your imagination. At some point in our history of life, we have been geared or programmed to live within this physical realm. Don't think too big. Like, imagine Kanye not using his imagination, right? Imagine Tesla, the real Tesla, not using his imagination to say, hey, I know I can create renewable energy. The Egyptians did it in the past. I just got to figure it out. You know what I mean? If he put himself in a box, he never would have been able to experience those things, right? And create all these great inventions that we still use to this day. And Tesla's been dead for a long time, okay? So same thing with us, and it's scalable. If we don't believe that we can achieve something, then it won't happen, right? But if you really allow yourself to say, it will happen, and not only will it will happen in ways that are meant for me and that's really designed for me to succeed, because that's part of school, right? It's like having faith, right? Which is like a religious concept, but having faith that this is gonna happen for you, then it will, you know? But you have to operate in that faith. You gotta move in that faith. You gotta know that all of your goals are gonna happen and not to put a limitation on it, right? Someone asked me the other day, they were like, kind of like what you said before, but they asked me, they're like, you know, what do you expect out of yourself? Like, what's your best self? What type of money are they making? Whatever. I was like, why would I do that to myself, right? Because whatever I imagine that I can achieve, there's probably something far greater out there for me, and I don't want to cap it with my small-minded thought process, right?
Yeah.
In my head, I'm like, yeah, I can be a millionaire one day. I can be, you know, because it feels good to me. It feels good to like know that like one day I'll have those resources. But I'm not gonna cap myself off at $2 million. Like, are you kidding me? No. like whatever's meant for me will be.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I know as long as I continue like empowering people and doing things in a positive way and literally changing the frequency in which we operate on this earth, one person, one moment, one conversation at a time, then I will be paid back a millionfold, you know? Because again, this is just earth. Right?
Yeah, you're speaking fast, bro.
You know,
fast.
it's just earth. There's another journey after this incarnation. There's another journey after this soul leaves this vessel, and there's, you know, there's more to understand. There's more to realize. There's more to learn. But again, if I do what I'm supposed to do here, then again, if I want to create that, it will be that. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to happen easy, right? It doesn't mean like I don't have to put in effort. But because we're transitioning now, a lot of us are now in that fourth dimensional reality, and mind frame, it's not going to take as much hard work that it took in the third dimension in order to achieve that. Because the more dense you are, the harder it is to achieve things, right?
Yeah.
But the lighter you are, you get into like a light state where eventually we'll be in the fifth dimension where we can just think it and then it happens.
Oh.
You know, just like a dream. Like, can you lucid dream? Do you lucid dream?
Every once in a while. I think I did last night, but it doesn't happen all the time for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's the same concept.
Yeah.
When you're in your dream state, you're in a higher dimensional realm. You're in the spiritual realm. So you're in the fifth dimension.
Yeah.
So you can literally create whatever you want, and it'll just pop up and happen right then and there.
And it feels so real too. Yeah.
It is real.
The fifth dimension is real?
Yes. Yes, 100%.
Wow.
100%. Some would say that our dream state is really us living our true lives. And then this is the dream that we are witnessing within this vessel. Some would say that.
Wow.
I can't confirm nor deny, but it sounds pretty damn good and it feels pretty right. I'll tell you if I don't know the answer.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you that that makes all the sense in the world.
So the fifth dimension is a dream state. The fourth dimension and the third, which dimension would you say this is right here? Like, what is this?
That we're in right now?
Yeah.
So we were born into and raised in the third dimension.
Okay.
For the most part.
Yeah.
And mind you, whatever your, okay, all right. So this is quantum physics now.
Okay.
There is a million different Earths operating at the same time right now.
Yeah.
Billions of them, right? And every conscious being, every creator is creating their own version of this Earth based off of their experience, okay?
Yeah.
And all of us that are interacting with one another are intertwining our universe, our Earth, our version of Earth with each other, okay? So think about this. For so long, and we're talking like hundreds of thousands of years, the concept of what we're living in has all been physical. It's all been about matter. It's all been about mining gold and power and eating solid foods. And we got so dense, bro, that we stopped eating off the land and we started killing animals, right, in order to eat. And like flesh is dense, bro. So like that holds down your vessel, mind, body, spirit, right? So everything was, and our frequency, our vibration was just so worrisome. There was world wars going on and kids are being kidnapped and like all these really dense, hard, energetic concepts that we saw in our day-to-day life. So we operated in that, and we operated with the thought process of like, work really hard to achieve anything that you really want, and then if there's no way to achieve it, you gotta work even harder to push through it and create the life that you want. Even if that means screwing somebody over, right? Which is a very dense thought process, okay? So when you start operating in a different way and start operating in a light thought process, like we can all work together and everything that we have here is already for us and we can heal our own body and things that matter is not matter, it's the energy behind the matter. Because like I said last week, Newtonian physics is a study of matter, quantum physics is a study of energy. And quantum physics says that all matter is made and comprised of energy, right? So the more you start to get in that thought process of the very things that we put out, because, all right, put it this way, if you really think about your life journey, just go through snapshots of you from like a little kid up till now, everything that you truly believed would happen has happened. Every bit of it. Good or bad, ugly, happy, indifferent, whatever. It's all happened. And that's part of understanding how we operate within this planet. That's part of like how we unlock who and what we really are, because we're really creating this thing, right? So the higher the frequency, the lighter the energy is, Therefore, things can flow to you in a nice, calm, peaceful state, right? Or in whatever state in which that you put it out there, if that makes sense. So we were born into a very dense, we're millennials, bro, like, 80s babies, crack epidemic, this, that, whatever the case is, right? We were born into a dense world where like government had so much power and control and all this stuff. And like, there was a time in the 70s where people were starting to come around to this thought process of love and peace and joy. And then the war on drugs happened and they had to shut it down, right? Mm-hmm. So then they got their slaves back in the black family by giving football numbers to people for weed, right? Mm-hmm. And then they stopped people from taking shrooms, which were the rich white kids who were the hippies, who were like, hey, I got the answers, love is the answer. Not war, let's do this, and then they made a Schedule I drug up until this very day. But because of the information of the net, the internet, the netters, which is in ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs, that this one day would happen, that the netters would cast their web of knowledge across the land, wow. And in turn, they will start awakening to the truth, okay? Then you start to become less dense. Just like you said to me last week, you said it to me today. It's like, Keith, you're moving with the energy of like just peace and light and happiness and joy and da-da-da. It's light, it's airy, it's fun, it's real SpongeBob over here, you know what I mean? And when you operate like that, yeah. Your issues aren't really issues. They're just lessons for you to learn so you can then achieve everything that you want, okay? So then the more and more that me and you have these connections, and anybody that's watching this has that same connection to that frequency, there's something that's got to hold that and keep pushing it up higher and higher. So then what ends up happening is that because of those frequency connections, and we're raising the frequency of our thought processes, we're now living in a lighter state, okay? Which gives a lighter density to who and what this whole thing is. So then you go from third density where everything's rough to fourth density of like, everything's not that bad. And then the things that you're waiting for, the things that you're creating aren't a grind. It's not a grueling thing. It's just a happening that will happen anyway. And it was happening in the third dimension. It was just that you were so stressed out about it so much leading up to it. Right? Mm-hmm. So again, it's about your conscious awareness. And the goal is like inevitably is that we will be a civilization that we will realize that we are all interconnected, okay? And then once you're able to do that, and once you realize that we're all one, then you'll be able to have the technologies to create renewable energy, to move through wormholes and go from here to planet Sirius B and like 20 minutes, even though it's hundreds of light years away, because we understand the way that energy operates and moves. We're just like tipping the iceberg when it comes to like that type of studies right now, Yeah. So it's as complicated as we make it, right? But it's not necessarily something easy to just speak through, right? That's why this podcast is called Ineffable Truths, right? I had to go back to Ineffable.
I like it.
Right?
Where'd you come up with it?
It's just sitting around, man. I was like, what am I gonna do with this name, with this podcast, or whatever the case is, you know what I mean? Yeah. But these truths are true, but it's also too great to be described into words. The English language is trash, okay? There's feelings and things that aren't, and things that happen that don't necessarily come across properly in the English language.
It can't be expressed.
It just can't be expressed properly in the English language. There's other languages out there, like there's like a word in Mandarin or something that like describes the feeling that you get when you get the perfect gift that you want. Like when someone gets you the perfect gift, what is that called? Right? There's a word for that. We don't have that. We just say, oh, we really like this gift. Yeah, okay. Well, I really like ice cream too, but this gift is way better. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like same thing when it comes to like these concepts, they're ineffable truths. Like I can't express into words how great these concepts are, but I'll try. Sorry, that was a rant on something, I kind of went a few different ways on that, but you know, I do believe that as we become lighter and lighter, you know, and just like, you know, the soul review situation, people with NDEs, near-death experiences, whatever the case is, they have an opportunity to learn and understand and accept and forgive and to grow in order to get closer and closer to that world of light, to that heaven, if you will, where their creations will come immediately, right? That's the whole thing. That's what it's all about. And I think that's what we're on our way to, here on Earth. We're gonna create it here on Earth, just in a different dimension. So, but this version will always be here, right? Just like there's a version of Earth that we've left behind up until this point, where it's just like fire and brimstone right now, you know? But we've ascended above that as a conscious collective that are here with us right now, right? But if you hold on to that, then that's where you'll be. I don't have to be there with you. like have fun, be there, right? That's your reality, that's your truth. But, you know, I'm gonna choose, you know, the latter. I'm gonna choose to be able to, you know, if I wanna travel from here to Tibet in 5 seconds through instant transmission like Goku does, then that's what I'm gonna do, you know? But I have to get to a certain level in order to be able to do that. And that kind of goes into what we were talking about last week about, you know, passing the trials, passing the tests, you know, and then you get the abilities.
I think that was a perfect closure, bro. We got to end it there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's it?
Mic drop.
All right. Boom. Have we been here for an hour? Yeah, it's perfect. All right, yeah, done.